number one.
Yes. Into an elevator. Context and then.
This is your opening
So this
statement,
is your.
but he has some context to the opening statement.
Okay. Imagine you step onto an elevator and find yourself alongside 5 Virgin Islanders: an elderly woman on a fixed income, a graduating high school senior preparing to enter adulthood, a college sophomore deciding whether to build a future here or elsewhere, a husband and a father working hard to provide for his family, and a professional woman striving to advance her career while balancing personal and community responsibilities. The elevator ride just lasts 2 minutes. They do not know you personally, but they're deciding whether to trust you with the future of the Virgin Islands. Here's the question. How do you introduce yourself as their next governor, and what would you say to convince each of them that your leadership will make a meaningful difference in their lives?
Thank you. Thank you. First, I want to say, outside of your question, good evening to all of you, and good evening to all of those people who are listening. Thank you to all the supporters who are here and to the candidates who are offering themselves up. I would introduce myself by saying that I'm Stacey Plaskett, and I have had the honor of serving the people of the Virgin Islands for 11 years in Washington. And Milton, Potter, and I are running for governor and lieutenant governor because we love our home. And we believe that you love our home as well, which is why you were asking the question. We're running because we care, but we are also running because we do not accept how the Virgin Islands is right now. We refuse to accept that. We refuse to accept that parents in Bovoni do not have an active space for their children, that a pregnant mother cannot have her child on St. John, that the Envision program has not in fact done all the roofs yet, and people have died waiting. In Williams Delight, a mother has had to fight for 2 years to get an IEP for her daughter to be able to do what needs to be done in school. You have trusted me in Washington, and I have delivered repeatedly with money and opportunities not seen every day. However, our government, this administration, have not been good stewards with the resources and the inheritance that we have. They've been neglectful. But Milton and I, who are doers, want to bring the fight, passion, and determination to ensure that everyone, the people who are suffering, receive a fair share. That's why you need to vote for us.
Thank you.
Candidate Fred Gregory.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity. I want to thank the Democratic Party for putting on this debate. I also want to say good evening to all those in the listening and viewing audience. My name is Donna Fred Gregory, and I am a Virgin Islander who has been serving this territory for well over 35 years. The lady that is standing before you this evening is the product of 2 blue-collar workers who have toiled the soil here in this territory. I have a master's degree in business. I have a master's degree in business administration, public administration, and an undergrad in business as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Donna Fred Gregory and Rodney Moorhead are prepared to lead this territory. For way too long, the challenges that we've had, failing hospitals, failing schools, failing infrastructure. It is time that we elect leaders who care. We care about our people. We are not about the shiny pennies. We are not about all of the infrastructure that's coming here that is not about our people. We are about focusing on what matters to the people of the U.S. Virgin Islands. We will ensure that there's reliable energy. We will ensure that there's reliable health care in the territory. We will ensure that our roads are prepared for our people. It is time that we also focus on leadership leaders who take responsibility, and leaders who do not sit aside and only take praise when things are good, and when things are bad, they stand down. I'm number 3 on the ballot, and I'm looking forward to your support because we care about the people of the United States Virgin Islands.
Thank you. Candidate Roach.
Good evening, everyone. So I would first like to take this opportunity to thank the Democratic Party for hosting this forum. I want to say a special good evening to my fellow candidates, and I want to thank all of you supporters for coming out, because whether you support me or not, participation in the democratic process is essential. I would introduce my team by saying between Senator Novell Francis and me, we have given 60 or more years of public service to the residents of this territory. We, through our work in the legislature, made tuition free at our universities. If you want to live here, you can go to college and earn your degree for free. One of our major economic moves will be the South Shore. Everyone will talk about it in their platform, but the basis for that has been laid out in legislation authored by Senator Novell Francis. I would tell them that I have transformed, contrary to what you might think, the office of Lieutenant Governor, and that you can do business with that office 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have transformed it by creating an urban grid that when you get in your car and you say where you want to go, it's not the satellite up there. It's nobody outside of this territory. It's people who work in the office of Lieutenant Governor who have charted that course and have given us that system. I would say to you that we propose to address some of the same items. Schools already being built, hospitals already being built, renewable energy alternatives that are already being considered. You will hear the same thing. It will not be used with continuity, but it will be continuity. But we want to add our special concerns with the elderly by creating more homes for elderly persons in the territory and supporting families as well. Thank you for coming.
We also want to encourage anyone that might have their cell phones on, so just please check it so we don't have any unintended interruption. Thank you for the cooperation.
All right, let's get into it. Rick, you have the honor of asking the first question.
That's an honor?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Tonight it is.
Candidate number 1. Candidate Plaskett, sorry, I apologize. What leadership philosophy will guide your administration, and how will it shape your approach to governing?
Thank you for the question. I think the leadership that I would bring is the leadership I have used in my own office. One that is servant first. I am the first to work in the morning. I am the last person to leave. I am, at the end of the day, a worker, a diligent person, and I expect that from everyone in my office. I also expect them to respect the people who we have in our care, whether that be those other workers, but also Virgin Islanders. One of the things that I have put in my platform that Milton and I feel very strongly about is that every cabinet member, every assistant commissioner, every director must adopt a school. And we must be the servant leaders that our children need to see. That is the type of leadership that I would use.
Any rebuttals?
I see a rebuttal for...
Any rebuttals?
I see a rebuttal for candidate Roach.
Yes, thank you. I would ask the delegate, we are going to focus on all these issues with the local government, but there are relationships with the federal agencies that affect your lives every single day. Customs, the post office, the national park, The National Park is now issuing requests for proposals that will mean Canal Bay will be developed at a bigger scale, less attention to public spaces, less attention to beach access. The lines that we have at the airports all have to do with federal work that we won't be discussing.
Candidate Fred Gregory, you have a rebuttal.
I would beg to ask the delegate, or Candidate Plaskett, you talk about your leadership style and your inclusive leadership style. Will you answer the phone when your constituents call? Because I have experience where, as serving as the chair of the Congressional Committee for the Legislature, I've called, and you've never answered. So will you change that style?
Do I have 2 rebuttals?
A redirect. It's one redirect.
I'm sorry?
You have one
One
opportunity
redirect.
to address.
First of all, as for former Senator Donna Fred Gregory, not only have I returned your call, I've returned your text. You and I have met on a number of occasions, so I'm not sure what you're talking about, and my office always answers within 24 hours. The second issue is that, yes, we have issues with customs and post office and others, and I've worked diligently on those, but I don't control the U.S. Post Office. Lieutenant Governor, you control banking and insurance, and you have not modernized banking, nor have you brought insurance that all of us can use.
And we're on to the next question.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, guys. If elected, what are the 3 most important priorities you intend to accomplish during your first year, and how will you measure success? This question is for candidate Fred Gregory.
Thank you for the question. And we all know that we have challenges with rebuilding our schools. We know we have challenges with our infrastructure. We know we have challenges with WAPA. And we know we have challenges with healthcare here in the Virgin Islands. When elected, I will focus on ensuring that in the first 100 days in office, we will require the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority to issue an RFQ for a public-private partnership on the revenue generation side. In addition to that, when it comes to healthcare, we will focus on ensuring that temporarily, we will ensure that we engage in relationships with national hospitals so our people will not suffer here in the Virgin Islands until we can get these matters addressed as it relates to our hospitals. And when it comes to our infrastructure, our overall infrastructure, it's time that we fix our roads and our lights for the people of the Virgin Islands. We need to ensure that we put in place the public-facing dashboard and the 411 system to address corruption in the United States Virgin Islands. Thank you.
We have candidate Roach with the first rebuttal.
Candidate Donna Fred Gregory put on the record the issues and concerns with health. Delegate Plaskett has on her website a total explanation, which I thought was good, about why the Affordable Health Care Act, which left us out, is one of the major factors in getting health insurance in the territory. But as usual, you present another comment when the people who are not informed of what you've already said, in an explanation which is absolutely correct. Insurance companies left when the Affordable Care Act.
Thank you.
That's it.
Would you like to rebuttal, Delegate Plaskett?
Yes. Well, I think that the first 2 issues that the Senator candidate Fred Gregory brings are good. One of the concerns I have when you talk about infrastructure development was that when you were the Senate president, you refused to allow hearings on the infrastructure when there were individuals who had economic development and the rebuilding under their committee. There's letters that you refused to engage with them to allow hearings of this administration about why they were taking so long.
Candidate Fred Gregory, would you like to redirect?
Absolutely. I'm not certain where that information is coming from. As Senate President, I serve as the administrator of the legislature. I don't make decisions. Each respective committee lead decides what committee hearings they will hear. So we're not going to stay on this stage tonight and be disingenuous about the conversations that we're having. Let's start telling the truth. We're not going to start with being disingenuous. It's critical that we tell the truth about what has happened here in the Virgin Islands.
Thank you.
On
Moving
to the next question.
Yes, moving along. Candidate
Excuse me? Thank you.
Roach. How will your administration maintain fiscal responsibility while meeting competing priorities such as infrastructure, education, healthcare, and public safety?
Thank you. I think more attention, the Roach Francis team will endeavor to involve the Office of Management and Budget in a much different way than it has been. We want to centralize grants management in the government of the Virgin Islands. We want to bring the fiscal officers together to share information and to train and provide professional development opportunities for other fiscal officers within the government of the Virgin Islands. And we also would like to see regular reporting on public projects from every agency provided to the Office of Management and Budget. We also want to beef up the Office of Inspector General, provide more investigators, and provide more staffing so that proper auditing of government processes and contracts are conducted through that office.
Do we have any rebuttals? Candidate Fred Gregory.
I find your commentary about the Office of the Inspector General extremely concerning. We have experienced insurmountable amount of corruption in this territory. When I looked at the 2027 budget that came down for this territory, I do not see one extra position placed for the Office of the Inspector General. Under your leadership,
There will be no rebuttal from candidate Plaskett, and so
Would you like
candidate
to
Roach,
redirect?
you can redirect.
There has been a lot of conversation about the role of the governor and lieutenant governor, and there's a misapprehension about it. It's not a partnership. The team that you're running is a partnership. When you get elected, the responsibilities of the lieutenant governor are set out very clearly by statute. If I have to hire someone in my office, this partnership that you all talk about, the governor has to sign the NOPA. If I want to give them a raise, the governor has to sign a NOPA. I give the governor counsel, and he chooses whether.
Just as a reminder, the rebuttals are only 30 seconds, okay? So to answer the question, you have more time, but the rebuttals are strictly at 30 seconds. This question is for candidate Plaskett. The population of the Virgin Islands has declined by as much as 20% since 2000. What ideas do you have to reverse this decline and to develop a long-term strategy for diversifying the territory's economy and reducing dependence on federal assistance?
Thank you for that. I think it's critical that we diversify our economy. We cannot rely on one savior. Here on St. Croix, we've moved from one company to another that we thought was going to be the thing that had us and would be our prosperity forever, and we saw that that was not the case. I think that it's important that we leverage so many strengths that we have. On St. Thomas, we can expand our marine industry. On St. Croix, utilizing the South Shore, not only can we use that for transshipment, cold storage, etc., but also to use it as beginning to use that for digital as well. There is an entire digital economy that the Virgin Islands can be a hub from between Africa, South America, and the United States that we are not taking advantage of. There's $1.8 billion by 2027 with our brothers and sisters in Africa. We need to be engaged in that. We also need to be engaged in a Caribbean regional perspective as well. And as we build a new hospital, using the hospital as a regional center for so many other individuals throughout the Caribbean who'd rather come here than going to other places. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. We have a rebuttal by candidate Roach. You may proceed.
Yes. The same failed administration is to develop the hospital and has already awarded the hospital of which the delegate speaks, number one. And number two, this reliance on the South Shore Zone, without ever giving credit to the author of it, who has put all of those requirements in place for our territory to prosper. It is seized upon as an opportunity just to promote a platform without getting credit for where it comes from.
We have a rebuttal by candidate Fred Gregory.
I hear the Plaskett about the hospitals, but I have not heard, how are you bringing back? I'm still trying to understand, how are we bringing back Virgin Islanders? How are we growing our economy? How are we growing our people? How are we ensuring that Virgin Islands return here? I did not hear that. It is important that we secure spaces for our young people in this territory.
Would you like to redirect?
Yes, I would. As for the South Shore, that is not anything that has been new, just that Novelle Francis, your running mate, put up. Yes, he had the legislation, but we also recognize that nothing has been done. But I'm actually glad you're finally taking responsibility and saying that you're part of this administration when you talk about the hospitals. I hope you will take not just the groundbreakings and the RFPs, but also the responsibility for the failures, as well as the damages and delays.
Nope, that's it. No rebuttal. That's it. No rebuttal. That's it. Next question.
Moving right along, candidate Fred Gregory. Tell us what industries should receive the highest priority over the next decade, and then what policies will encourage investment and job creation.
Thank you for the question. The industries that should have the most priorities right now in the territory is the industries that are tied to rebuilding the U.S. Virgin Islands. It is time that we ensure that our young people are a part of this process. The policies that we have to put in place is ensuring that workforce development is at the top of the agenda. Currently, there was $9 million that was set aside for workforce development in this territory for young people, and we are still talking about bringing people here to the Virgin Islands to do this work. That has to stop. What we will focus on is making sure that the policies are in place for workforce development, that our young people are trained in carpentry, in AI technology. Our young people are trained to be doctors. We have to ensure that we issue scholarships for our young people to travel abroad and come back to become doctors and nurses here in this territory. It is time that we become centered on the people of the Virgin Islands and not all the other external forces.
Candidate Roach and then candidate Plaskett.
When candidate Gregory speaks of opportunity for young people, it's important to note that when we implemented free tuition at the university, the applications from our high schools increased 67% in the first year. We succeeded in as well as removing vocational fees from our programs, and you should have seen this auditorium filled up with young people who are getting certifications and skills that are attached to their degree. when they graduate from our high schools. So the failures that the delegate refers to, I'm going to come to them in a minute.
You may proceed.
While I do agree that it's important that we look at our rebuilding and having the skill sets and individuals to ensure that we do that, we've had 8 years to begin building that workforce, which has not been done. And now the governor is talking about trying to bring 5,000 individuals here for jobs that we could have had. But at the same time, we must ensure that other individuals, as other kids, other young people have other jobs here as well. Because when the building is over, there's still work to do.
Candidate Fred Gregory, would you like to redirect?
The Lieutenant Governor passed the free tuition bill that he touts. However, while serving in the Senate, it was not funded. It was funded twice, 2 times. Just this year, there was a situation where we were unable to fund that. We had to send a emergency legislation down to fund the free tuition bill. What is the priority?
Thank you. The next question is for Candidate Roach. What actions would you take to reduce bureaucracy and make it easier for small businesses to succeed?
The first action I would take is to revisit the VI Economic Development Authority and to look at the awards that they make and whether we can support local small businesses with such awards as well. I would expand the incubation program that grows small businesses. And I would also look at the gross receipts tax, how they affect small businesses, and reduce the threshold that small businesses have to pay gross receipts from. If they gross now about 120,000 a year to 250,000. I think the university, through its economic development regarding the technology park, et cetera, should also be brought into the mix to ensure that local businesses that qualify for any of the benefits that are there can also utilize them. And in my remaining time, I would say to Senator Gregory that the free tuition program at the university was not necessarily funded every year because there were years that the funding that it had could cover all the students that were there. There were years that we were trying to get more students to apply. This is the first year that the university has ever come forward and said the program was in danger and that they needed funding. And right away, the Senate and the governor worked, and I worked to do it.
Candidate Plaskett, you have a rebuttal?
While I do agree that the EDC program is a place where we could expand its government development bank so that it provides more assistance to small businesses, but Lieutenant Governor Roach, your office having banking is the primary vehicle for small businesses. And you needed to have expanded the number of banks and availability for the small businesses that are already here to be able to get the loans, to be able to do the work, to be able to have the bonding so that they can be part of this.
Candidate Fred Gregory, you'd like to rebuttal?
You speak to the Catalyst Fund in particular. However, the 35th legislature appropriated funds for the Catalyst Fund. To date, those funds have not been released for small businesses to thrive in this territory. Under your leadership, those funds have not been released. You also spoke about gross receipts. A tax study commission has been on the books since 2019.
Candidate Roach, would you like to redirect?
Yes. With regard to the observations about the Catalyst Fund, I think Senator Gregory also doesn't recall that she was in the legislature at the time. And what has happened with what were your activities related to ensuring that the Catalyst Fund would be utilized. This complete reliance, someone mentioned, I think the delegate mentioned the governor before in attributing the same thing to him and to Iowa. He's not here at present to defend any of this. And again, I recall.
Thank you. At this time, we would like to remind the audience, Shanice, can you hold up the index cards? If you have any questions that you would like to submit to be read at the end of the debate, please see Shanice, get some index cards, and you can write your questions there. Next question.
Candidate Basket. Let's take a little water break for everyone. Again, good night to anyone on the live. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys for being here today. This is nice.
We're going to continue. Candidate Plaskett, tell us what comprehensive strategy would you pursue to improve reliability, affordability, and the modernization of the territory's energy system?
Thank you for that. This is probably one of the most critical issues that we face here in the Virgin Islands. The first thing I think we have to have is transparency. People need to know what is going on. When people have power out, that information needs to come quickly to them, and that is not the case. We have an enormous amount of resources, over $4 billion to rebuild our utility system, and none of us know what the plan is. It has been 7 years, and no one of us know what the plan is. That is the first thing I would do, is transparency. The second is, of course, having an immediate midterm way to handle reliability, and that is batteries. We have the resources now to put batteries at substations so that when power goes out, it could switch on. And then I think as a long-term viability, we need to go to the long-term plan, which is microgrids. Power generation that moves from the Richmond plant so that that area can also be more vibrant here on St. Croix, and have power generation be on the South Shore, where we will experience $12 million a year reduction in the use of that power coming there. And that is a blended rate that all Virgin Islanders on all islands would be able to face. That is the long-term plan. Microgrids, alternative energy, support to our grid.
Thank you. We have candidate Roach for the rebuttal.
Delegate Plaskett has never spoken about WAPA except now that she's running for governor. The first thing she wanted to do was to bring the Department of Energy here to declare an energy emergency. They came. They said no. They said they don't want to take it over. They said you, the Virgin Islanders, it should not be taken out of your hands because you've already laid a foundation. You have done the composite poles replacement. You have done the undergrounding in your towns of Christiansted and Frederiksted and Charlotte Amalia. You have put renewable.
Candidate Fred Gregory with a rebuttal.
Delegate Plaskett has never talked about the challenges that we have. Delegate Plaskett has not experienced what we've experienced with these long hours of power outages. Delegate Plaskett is not in touch with what has occurred with us here on the ground in the Virgin Islands, and has not pushed her colleagues on the mainland in Washington to ensure that we have the support from our federal partners to get our power grid up and running. This is a new issue for Delegate Plaskett.
Would you like to redirect? You may proceed.
First, while I work in Washington, my home is on Hill Street in Christiansted. And I live here, and I experience power outages just like everyone else. And as for this being a new issue, in 2019, Lieutenant Governor, I sent a letter to your governor, Brian Roach administration, asking for support for the people of the Virgin Islands, and I was told no. And when the Department of Energy came down, it was to offer technical support because you can't keep the power on now.
Thank you. The next question is for candidate Fred Gregory. What reforms would your administration pursue to strengthen healthcare access and quality throughout the Virgin Islands?
Thank you for the question. Our first reform is to ensure that we are able to bring telehealth here, that we are able to look at our boards and our health boards that we have in the territory, our medical boards, and allow Virgin Islanders and others who want to come in and remove the barriers. There are barriers that are preventing folks from coming into this territory because of the policies that we have in place with regards to our boards. Telehealth needs to be within our hospitals, within our clinics. We need to ensure that we are able to bring clinics here in the Virgin Islands. Currently, what's happening in this territory, our people are utilizing our emergency room as our primary care. We need to ensure that we are able to bring primary care physicians here on the ground in the territory. Open primary care clinics that are subsidized by our government. We have to ensure that we are able to take care of our people. We have to engage in relationships outside of the U.S. Virgin Islands temporarily to make sure that our people are getting quality health care.
Do we have any rebuttals? Candidate Roach, you may proceed.
I agree with Senator Donna Fred Gregory on several of those items. What I would add to it is the loss of insurance. As I was trying to explain before, after the Affordable Care Act did not apply, insurers left the territory. We managed to bring one back, and their policy was too expensive. One of the options, because government people and their families are insured, one of the options we will explore is a universal health care system where we subsidize health for all the people.
Candidate Plaskett, you may rebuttal.
I think that it's really important for us to understand that one of the main drivers for us being able to do these things with our hospital, to have the telehealth, to have these primary care services, is to get the hospital rebuilt. We have been told by CMS that it is only when the hospital is rebuilt that they will do the TEFRA rebasing from Medicare to allow the hospital to come in. And as to the insurance company leaving, it was because they offered a larger percent, and you made the decision to let that go.
Thank you. Fred Gregory, would you like to redirect?
In your last debate for Lieutenant Governor, you spoke about working feverishly to attract healthcare insurance here in the territory. And you have failed at that. You have failed tremendously. Our small businesses in this territory and their employees are now without insurance because you did not push to make sure that we have that insurance available to our people.
Thank you.
Candidate Roach, a question that is near and dear to my heart. How would your administration improve student achievement, teacher recruitment and retention, school facilities, and workforce readiness?
I do not believe that our university is as involved in public education as it should be. There are clear examples when I taught at the university. We had junior university, where we brought young people in the 7th grade, particularly boys, to the university and enrolled them in a 25 session program to improve their skills. It changed their lives. The university is available with that K to 16. We should have them involved in public education. We have in our schools at present, we're dealing with a teacher academy because there is a nationwide teacher shortage. And so we are trying to get young people who are interested in education to move them towards that as a career. I have raised the question with regard to our new school facilities, and I've been assured that one of the considerations will be that they will also be maintained. Funding will also be set aside for maintenance, which has been a problem that has plagued the territory forever. And with regard to insurance, you could get up on the stage and you could talk about failures. Not one of you two know what's involved in bringing an insurance company to the territory. You don't simply go out and put out an ad and say, we need an insurance company to come. That same data and data-driven approaches that you talk about is what they look at when they decide when to come. The size of the market. We are 80,000 people. The bulk of a huge...
Thank you. Any rebuttals?
Lieutenant Governor, you cannot deny that insurance capacity went down significantly under your leadership in this territory, and the cost of insurance has increased significantly under your leadership. But I would like to add to your proposal as it relates to education. It is time that we focus our federal education dollars on early childhood. Early childhood as well as career and technical education. Currently what's occurring is we are spreading our federal dollars very thin, and we are not achieving anything for our children.
Thank you. Candidate Taskett.
Thank you. I think, and I agree that we need to be involved in early childhood, but I think it is early intervention, not just at the early ages, but from K to 3. Those are the things that we need to be concerned with. We have our children right now reading and doing math. 40% of them are below grade level. That is an indictment on all of us. That is a concern we all should have. And we should not be pleased about anything happening right now.
Thank you. Candidate Walsh, would you like to redirect?
Sure. When people don't have data, they use significantly. You, your running mate, and your other running mate, not, as I listen to those things about how to run the lieutenant governor off, totally off the wall. We have not had the loss of the individual health product was before this administration came into effect. Trace it back 13 years to the Affordable Care Act. So when you want to bring data, you bring data. When you don't, you use...
Thank you. Candidate Taskett, this question is for you. What comprehensive housing strategy would you implement to expand affordable housing?
Well, I think that there are 2 ways that we need to expand housing. First, I think one of the first things that we would do is that the government owns a lot of land. We need to be engaged in a housing acceleration task force that would look at land and work with private partners to be able to build communities for the middle class again. I can recall when my uncle moved into Sine Farm, when we went and visited family in Tutu. That was when we developed a middle class because they had housing that they could then use at equity. We also need to use that to support, to try and attract people into police, firefighting, teaching, nurses, to use housing as it's been done in many other jurisdictions as an impetus and as a form of recruitment to try and get them to come into the fields where we need them the most and where our salaries may not be as competitive as other places. Thank you.
We have a rebuttal from candidate Roach.
I agree that we have to improve the housing stock, but one of the pieces that we miss from the conversation is the housing stock that is so limited in this territory. A home in St. Croix is averaging 400. St. Thomas is 600,000 to 700,000. St. John is $1 million and over. And the people who fund you, Delegate Placid, who are buying up our towns, will make those costs go up even more. Those are the things that we have to address.
Thank you. Candidate Fred Gregory.
It's time that we invest in our historic towns. We have a number of abandoned buildings in this territory. We have moved legislation to address abandoned buildings in the Virgin Islands, and to date, we have not seen any movement. It's time that we implement, or we ensure that our courts put the necessary probate judges in place so we can get our probate cases moved, so we can, in fact, ensure that housing is available to our people in the Virgin Islands. But I will say,
Candidate Plaskett, would you like to redirect?
Yes, again, housing is critical for all of us to be able to expand our middle class in the same way it was done in the 60s and 70s here in the Virgin Islands. And as for donations that I've received, yes, I have received them. And that's because don't have the ability to strong-arm vendors who still owe government money to get donations to you, or to intimidate people to wear my T-shirts to be part of my campaign.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. We have some more questions still. Thank you.
Candidate Fred Gregory.
You guys ready for the next question? Thank you. Thank you.
Too often, we hear the gunshots and we wonder if it's someone we know. How would your administration improve public safety while strengthening trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve?
there's no doubt that crime is on the rise in the Virgin Islands. But I strongly believe that we need to start first with the root cause. The root cause is that we are not offering jobs to our young people. Our young people have no opportunities in the Virgin Islands. We've had workforce development programs right here in this territory. And if you look back, our young people have not been given those opportunities. $9+ million have been spent for workforce development. And we cannot tell you that we have 100 of our young people that has been trained up. So we have to focus on the root cause, focus on our young people. And when it comes to crime in the territory and our policing, we need to beef up our police force in the Virgin Islands. Our posts, which is the training course for the police department, we need to make sure that at least 4 times per year, we are able to attract new officers and train them up so we can see new police officers in this territory. We need to work with our young people in our schools. We have the police cadet program. We need to make sure that that program is working, and we are bringing young people into that program to secure our security here in the Virgin Islands.
Candidate Plaskett has a rebuttal, and then Candidate Roach.
I agree that we need to invest in our young people. That needs to be a primary focus, particularly when it comes to crime. All of us have lost someone. All of us have friends that didn't make it, maybe got in the game, got involved in drugs, and have died. We need to be more involved in our young people to move them from that. As for our police officers, we need to invest in them so that they want to join the police office, so that they want to be part of this dangerous job.
Candidate Roach, thank you.
I cannot imagine that I'm actually hearing Senator Donna Fred Gregory say there has been no opportunities for young people in this territory. Our Department of Labor, right here with our LIFT program, training and placing young people, has received national awards. Our apprenticeship program through the Department of Labor is placing young people in positions of authority and wealth. The governor's financial fellows program takes those young people out of college and pays them a higher salary than some of the employees. That's just
Candidate Fred Gregory, would you like to redirect?
Then tell me why. Lieutenant Governor, then tell me why our young people are leaving this U.S. Virgin Islands in droves if there are all those workforce development opportunities available to young people. Tell me why.
Thank you.
The next question is for Candidate Roach. The government rely heavily on our tourism product. How would you diversify tourism while preserving the territory's culture and environment?
I believe we are working towards more regional tourism. I think that's one of the areas that we don't pay attention to. People who live in the territory who want to visit other Caribbean islands, and people in other Caribbean islands who want to come here but who have to fly to the U.S. mainland in order to do that. Secondly, one of the things we need to do more of is the local products that are made in the territory. The Division of Tourism, the Department of Tourism is now working to make sure that some of those products are sold on cruise ships and are incorporated in the provisioning of cruise ships. I think that is a way to include more of our vendors in the tourism product. And the neighboring territory, the British Virgin Islands, I think we should cooperate with them more in terms of the charter yacht industry. We were negotiating with them a solution to an issue that just came up. The delegate threw it into federal hands, and now it's out of our hands. We don't know what this administration will do with it, when we were already meeting with them and trying to work it out so that we could monopolize together this marine industry that would be of great benefit to our product as well.
Candidate Plaskett, your rebuttal?
Yes. First, I think that each island is unique, and we need to look at each island and be engaged in them in their uniqueness. And I will give credit to my predecessor, Donna Christensen, who began a study for the island of St. Croix. And I'm glad that I was able to bring in a national heritage area for the island of St. Croix, which is a tremendous opportunity for us to be able to market St. Croix as a heritage area. Only 62 places in the world.
Thank you. Fred Gregory, you have your rebuttal?
It's time for us to develop a strategic plan for each respective island when it comes to tourism. Each of these islands are uniquely placed and are unique to us. It's time that we ensure that when we look at our product, we improve our product. It's time to uplift our product if we're going to get serious about moving tourism forward. I know that we are looking to move forward with our airports here in the territory. People don't come to the Virgin Islands for airports. They come for the product.
Thank you. Candidate Roach, would you like to redirect?
I agree that each space is unique. And I think we have already begun to we have been marketing the areas of the territory for their uniqueness, but we ought to invest more in them as well. And there are resources that we can access. You're talking about the resources, the Canal Bay development that has been in the works for St. John since the hurricane. The delegate has not participated in those conversations to ensure that any rebuilding of that resort benefits that.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has concluded the core discussion topics. Let's give the candidates a round of applause.
Now, I know you're trying to get out your system. Let's give them a louder round of applause, please.
Yeah.
now that that's out of your system,
Yeah.
We're gonna
Can't keep
move-
the battle up too long. Gotta give them a chance.
we're going to move to the candidate-to-candidate question, which is optional. Does everyone want to participate in asking a direct question to another candidate?
Everyone wants to participate?
Candidate Fred
right.
Gregory? Yes, no? Candidate Fred Gregory? Yes.
Yes,
Okay, good. So, we're going to start with candidate Plaskett.
Before you start, just as a reminder, you're going to ask one candidate a question. The question is going to be timed for 30 seconds. The response is 90 seconds, and then you have the ability to follow up for 30 more seconds, just so that we're clear. All right, you may proceed. Thank you.
This is a question for Lieutenant Governor Roach. You have served with Governor Bryant as the Lieutenant Governor for the last 7 years. Would you please tell us the grade that you would give this administration and the work that it has done?
Let me answer. I would give this administration a B+. B, that's a B. And that is largely because a lot of work has been done. We are the administration that saved the retirement system. You don't hear every day going to run out of funds in a year or two. We're the administration that paid back the people their 8% that was taken out by Governor DeYoung and our good senator here who headed the Department of Education at the time. We have completed the waterfront expansion in St. Thomas and the first phase and getting ready for the second. And the pavement of the Melvin Evans Highway and multiple roads in St. Croix has been accomplished as well. So you know too that part of the delay in getting the accessing the federal funding was the match that we could not afford and that we negotiated and we reduced that match. And you put out an ad that gave everybody credit for helping to make it happen. But then at the end of the ad, you took the full credit for it, the same way that you do in so many ways, including taking credit for the $24 billion, 8.7 of which had begun with Senator Mapp. When you and he were not even speaking, you were begging to be involved, yet you go back and you take credit for every dollar. And you create your brochures and all of your pamphlets and you say, I got, I obtained, I delivered, I unlocked. Every time a new verb.
Excuse me. Thank you. Thank
And
you.
time has been called. Thank
Would you
you.
like to follow up? You have 30 seconds.
First, as for my engagement in changing the law that allowed us to receive the $24 billion, I don't have time to take you back to law school to how federal legislation is passed. But I was involved in that. But I'm glad that you are taking now, you want to take responsibility and you want to take credit for the things that have been done well. Please also take credit for all of the failures that we all are feeling, all of the pain that the people have.
Thank you.
Candidate Fred Gregory, your question.
My question is for Ms. Plaskett. How will you assure the people of the Virgin Islands that what is occurring in Washington, D.C. right now, on the ground with our representatives, our mayors, will not occur with us, with your leadership in the U.S. Virgin Islands because of your bad relationship that you have with the Republicans and the Trump administration?
1, 2. You have 90 seconds.
If you would look at the work that's being done right now in Washington, you would see that I do have a relationship with Republicans because legislation is still being done and there is work that's happening from both sides of the aisle. And as for my relationship with the current president, he is about finances and money, not necessarily always about vindication. And we saw that last year when I was able to get a carve out for the entire Caribbean of a $1 million fee that he was going to put on Chinese-made vessels, which are vessels that operate here. Also, I was able to get a cost share waiver right here on St. Croix for farmers who were working that this local government couldn't find a match for them. And the Department of Agriculture and this administration gave them a waiver for that. So it's all, at the end of the day, about what's fiscally makes sense, and that's how I'm gonna operate as your governor.
You may follow up. 30 seconds.
So I see that you are very much alike Mr. Trump. He's all about money, big money. Big money will not win these campaigns around here. And Lieutenant Governor Roach, I have to tell you this. The 8% that was restored, your administration sent down $25 million. When I sat in that seat as president, I recommended $40 million. Our people were able to get $40 million as a result of my leadership.
Thank you.
And just once more for clarity, the question, you get 30 seconds to ask the question, you get 90 seconds to respond, and 30 seconds to follow up.
Okay. Candidate Roach, who would you like to direct your question to?
My question is to Delegate Plaskett.
Thank you, audience. Thank you.
So, Delegate Plaskett, you dodged the question. The question is, since you led the impeachment against this president, and you made sure that you were seen everywhere in this country on CNN and Morning Joe and all the others, right? How you have not said how you are going to approach this president who, contrary to what you said, is not about just finances. The president just made...
I see this as a hot topic, and so I'll respond. When I, after being an impeachment manager, which I think was the right thing to do for our country, when asked, and I am from St. Croix, I do not back down from bullies when they come at me. But I can work with people when it's necessary. And in this time period, after him being elected president the second time, he has the ability to remove people from one of the most important committees, which is the Intelligence Committee. He did not remove me from that committee, while he removed his own members of his own party and other Democrats. Stop making a boogeyman, because you are the boogeyman that the people are experiencing every day here in this territory. The people are feeling it. The people are feeling it. And stop making them afraid of change. And you want to continue with what has been going on here because that works for you and those.
Thank you. Candidate Roach, would you like to follow up?
Still not an answer to the question. You have said that you have these congressional people to back you up. More than 200 of them voted to censure you in that same House of Representatives, number one, right? So you're going to bring Jasmine Crockett here next week to tell us to vote for you. I love her, but she is one of 38 representatives that represent the state of Texas in the House of Representatives. We have one non-voting one.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Candidates, we want to thank you so much for keeping that cute.
Thank you.
We're going to move to the lightning round at this time.
So the lightning round consists of 5...
Wait, Chiniko. If you could hear me, clap once. If you could hear me, clap twice. If you could hear me, clap 3 times. There we go.
The lightning round consists of 5 rapid response questions. The candidates are reminded that these questions require either a yes or no, or a very, very brief response, 10 seconds or less. You guys ready? 1 word or 10 seconds or less. In 1 word, we'll start with candidate Plaskett. What is the key to retaining young professionals in the territory?
Support of the government.
Offering them jobs.
Government is not the only answer. Creating a climate where their businesses can thrive and they can see their hopes come true.
Thank you. Next question. We're going to start with candidate 2, then 3, then 1. You guys ready? In 1 word, what should government do better? Go.
Serve the people.
Accountability.
Transparency.
Thank you. Candidate Roach, then Plaskett, then Fred Gregory. That's the order.
Okay.
In 1 word, how do you want Virgin Islanders to describe your leadership?
Say that again.
I'm sorry. In 1 word, how do you want Virgin Islanders to describe your leadership?
Integrity.
Bold and honest.
Servant leader.
So we're gonna go in order of appearance. We're gonna do Plaskett, Fred Gregory, and Roach. What is 1 thing your opponent is right about? Got him.
They are right that they have served for as many years as they have.
Next.
I join with 1 other opponent.
I'm sorry. You can go again. Yep, you can go now.
That the government is a failure. Has failed its people.
I think they care about the Virgin Islands.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, candidates.
1 more. That was 4. I know. That was a spicy one. I know. All right. 1 more. We're gonna start with Fred Gregory, then Roach, then Plaskett. That's the order. What is 1 promise you are making tonight that voters can hold you accountable for?
That I will address the challenges of the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority. I will not stand down until the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority is fixed for the people of the Virgin Islands.
That I will work towards accountability and restoring trust in government for the people of the Virgin Islands.
That I will work every day, all day, to ensure that we all have the ability to be our greatest in these islands.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Let's give them a round of applause for the lightning round. That was nice. Good job, you guys. Good job.
So we're gonna move to the audience question, and y'all really overdid it, which is good. Thank you so much. We're only gonna pick 6, and we're gonna literally hold them like this, and they're gonna randomly pick a question. Because you outdid yourselves, and we all checked them, and they were good. So
instead of 1 question each, we're gonna ask them 2 questions each.
yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yes. So if you get a total of 6, you'll get 2 questions each.
And you have 60 seconds to respond. Not 90, 60, 1 minute. You got it?
So I'm gonna have you go ahead and pick your 2 questions, and you're gonna turn them down, and then I will come back.
Good job. I'm gonna write your name on the back of them, so when we ask them, we know who they're for.
We made sure there was no cross-contamination. Okay, so we're gonna go one question for each of you, and then the second question for each of you. Candidate Plaskett. Lately, we've been seeing more homeless people in the VI, especially in St. Croix. What or how will you help the homeless at what or how will you help the homeless and mentally ill? I repeat, lately, we've been seeing more homeless people in the VI, especially in St. Croix. What or how will you help the homeless and mentally ill?
Thank you for the question. I live in the town of Christiansted, and my office is in Frederiksted. And we have made a point of staying there because the town is so depleted of people. And you see the homeless all the time. I have made it a point in the resources that I'm able to give in capital funding to support nonprofits that are doing the work. But if you look on our public safety, one of the things we want to do is to have mental health intervention so that we are going to the homeless where they are. Because even as we build new facilities, many of them are not going to go there. And so we need to meet them where they are, train individuals to meet those homeless in those places, and provide them the services that they need because they are our brother, our sister, our cousin. They are our family.
Thank you. The next question is for candidate Fred Gregory. Based on your prior experience, how will you maintain transparency when bringing in new businesses into our territory, especially EDC companies? Please give examples of how you protected our people while growing our economy.
Thank you for the question. So as we bring new businesses into the territory, it is mission critical that we look at restructuring our EDC program. Currently, our EDC program requires an assessment. Over the years, what I have done when I served in the legislature, I actually passed legislation to do some restructuring. There's a lot more work that needs to be done around the economic development program. We need to hold our new businesses that's coming into the territory accountable, and we need to ensure that the taxes, the tax breaks that we are providing to businesses that's coming here, that they are in fact equal to the breaks that our people are in fact getting. It's time for us to focus on our people, on our people's business.
Thank you.
Candidate Roach. What qualities, both professional and ethical, caused you to make your running mate your first choice? How do their qualities enhance your team?
I chose Nobel Francis because he has a history of integrity and public service to the territory of the Virgin Islands. I have worked with him in the legislature, and I've had the opportunity to see that. At this time of need for critical law enforcement services, I believe that he will be a great asset in that regard. He has demonstrated his involvement in business. He's a small business owner, and so he brings the concerns of the small businesses to bear on the administration, and he is diligent in all of his work. He brags of his record, and I verified it, that he has not missed a session in his entire 12 years serving the legislature. Such a work ethic is to be commended.
Thank you. This question is for candidate Plaskett. What 3 executive orders will you sign to effect immediate changes for the Virgin Islands?
There are so many that need to be done. I think one of the first ones would be to issue an order regarding the state of emergency of our utility system. That would be the first one that I would do. I think a second one would be to engage more with our young people, to beef up the support that we are giving them, and to ensure that there is a youth council, along with a faith-based council, along with a small business council, along with so many other councils that I think are missing at the table at Government House that speak to what the people are feeling. The unions have not been meeting with the governor on a regular basis. That needs to change. Those are two of the things that I would also do immediately. And the third is to say that we have a public safety crisis in the Virgin Islands. Guns and drugs are running rampant and hurting our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate for Gregory. The Virgin Islands is losing too many certified, qualified teachers and is struggling to attract more. If you are elected governor, what concrete retention and recruitment plan will you put in place to keep and bring certified, qualified teachers here? Exactly how will you be held accountable if it doesn't work?
First, thank you for the question. First, I would offer incentives to our teachers. We are currently bringing teachers from all over the country. We need to offer incentives to our teachers that are right here on the ground. We also need to ensure that we are paying our teachers adequately so they would stay in the classrooms and they don't leave. It's time that we provide our teachers with the necessary resources. Resources are critical for success. So I would focus on incentives for our teachers, providing them with homeowners services. I would ensure that they're able to get the necessary services and definitely provide them with increases. It's time to increase the salaries of our teachers.
Thank you. And last but not least, Candidate Roach. Every candidate spoke about workforce development and bringing the young people home. What we do not understand is why the hiring process in the Virgin Islands takes so long. How are we going to prevent individuals from hiring their brothers and sisters and actually hire individuals with experience and knowledge? We understand the youth are the future, but when will the youth actually get a chance?
I would have to first say that we have created opportunities for young people. The examples that I gave of the financial fellows, the apprenticeship, the LIFT program, we absolutely have to do more. We should do we have a resume bank that was supposed to be collected at the Department of Justice. I'm not sure that we have utilized it to the full extent. I believe we should do marketing in areas where Virgin Islanders live in great numbers, in cities like Houston and Virginia and the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And we should continue to create home ownership opportunities such as the VI Slice, which did succeed in granting at least 73 new home buyers their dream home. We ought to expand that program, and we ought to expand affordable housing opportunities, because if people relocate to a community, their quality of life is affected by their ability to own a.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give all of our candidates another round of applause. It is time for closing statements, closing arguments. Each candidate will receive 2 minutes to provide a closing statement. This will be their final opportunity to summarize their message and speak directly to voters. Anybody has a coin? You know what a coin for?
We've been doing good tonight. We've been doing good. Let's start with Delegate Plaskett.
Candidate Plaskett?
Candidate Plaskett.
You can go ahead.
Thank you all for being here today, and thank you those that are listening for viewing as well. I am a proven problem solver who has delivered for the Virgin Islands. For the last 11 years, you've trusted me to represent you in Washington and bring home every possible resource that I could negotiate and find for my people. And every day I work hard for you. After Irma and Maria, I had the law changed that has allowed the $24 billion that is here. I had $300 million in disaster loans forgiven. I had the Medicaid percentage dropped from 45% to 17%, which has allowed 20,000 more Virgin Islanders to receive Medicaid, our most vulnerable people here in the Virgin Islands. And during the pandemic, I sat on Ways and Means and was able to get the Virgin Islands government a check for over $540 million and our schools a check for over $260 million. But guess what? $60 million for our schools went back. And our children still had fans falling on them and our teachers in moldy classrooms. That $24 billion has still not created a hospital on St. John or any island, and electricity is still unaffordable and unreliable. We must do better. We must make what is unrealistic reality. My life is that. I grew up between Golden Rock and Kennedy projects, in Brooklyn projects as well. I went to law school working at night while having a child. Me sitting on the most powerful committee in Congress and working for you is only because we all believe in greatness for the Virgin Islands. I will deliver as your next governor.
Thank you.
Candidate Fred Gregory.
Thank you. I have served this government for the past 35 years. I have given to the people of the Virgin Islands. I have served as Director of Operations for the Department of Justice. I have served as Assistant Commissioner of Education, as Deputy Commissioner of Education, and I consider myself an anomaly because I am the only non-educator that has served as Commissioner of Education in this territory. I've served as Senator. I've served as nonprofit organizations. I have served our people well. It is time that we have leadership in this territory that cares about our people. It's time that the leadership that we choose understands the inner workings of our government. While we hear the conversations about all the money that we bring, my background is finance. I will ensure that we focus on the financial management of this territory. It is time. It is time for us to have a leader who understands government finances. It's time for us to have a leader who has managed large teams of people. It's time for us to have a leader who understands appropriations, local appropriations. Our politics here in the Virgin Islands is local. This election is not about big money. This election is not about folks who want to take the good and not the bad. This election is about the people of the United States Virgin Islands, and we need to ensure that we elect a leader. I am number 3 on the ballot. Elect Rodney and I. We are not your regular politicians. We care about our people, and it's time for results.
Thank you.
Candidate Roach.
Thank you all for coming out this evening. It's easy to stand here and just describe an administration as a failure and say everything that you're going to do will be better than that. That's an easy chore. And I have not run away from the places in my administration that have been successful and that have not been as successful. What I've asked you to do is consider me on my merits and how I have run the offices that have been under my purview. They have been transformed and in every way working better than they have before in the past. From our portal where you can do your own searches, to doing business online, whichever part of the world you live in, and I want to bring that to our government on a whole. A non-voting delegate to the House of Representatives did not by herself bring us $24 billion. That is an absolute misrepresentation of what has happened. She did not have the Stafford Act change on her own. She did not have the Medicaid match change on her own. Every now and then she gives credit and says, this administration helped to do this. Even the Chinese vessel, it started with a letter from the governor. So when you're hearing all of these representations, I wish there was a fact checker up here that would say, this is not true. You alone did not do this. Your record, your work with the post office is dismal. You said a year ago you were going to work on this tariff that by executive order was imposed. You have not improved our customs relationship where they work by memorandum. You have not improved that. Yes, you all don't want to hear the truth, and that's fine. But that is what has happened, and she is not responsible for those federal funds coming here, and in fact, has put us in danger.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. At this time, excuse me, thank you. At this
Ladies and
time,
gentlemen.
we'd like to thank you once again to our candidates, our audience, our volunteers, especially Janae Edney, District Committee Member, and our event timekeepers, our sponsors, I-95, and everyone watching and listening throughout the Virgin Islands live stream on Government Access Channel and the DPVI Facebook pages. I'm Shaniqua Robinson. I was one of your moderators this evening, along with Rick Grant. And we appreciate your commitment to civic engagement and democratic process. At this time, we would like to thank you once again. Be safe and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you to the candidates.